In countries where the climate is freezing, luring fish to a hole in an iced-over lake requires a sneaky approach. This handcrafted piece of art is the sprat to catch a mackerel. Often brightly coloured with bold patterns, the decoy attracts the attention of fish, almost certainly leading to a fatal attraction. Native North Americans were the first to use decoys to catch fish in the winter. European settlers followed their example, and centuries later, decoy makers carry on the tradition. At this workshop, the decoy starts with a plank of white cedar wood. It's a wood with dense fibres, so it won't expand when wet. The craftsman draws a basic fish shape on the wood. This one will resemble a herring. He carves out the shape with a bandsaw, producing the blank, which can now be transformed into the fish decoy. He cuts a narrow slot for attaching a metal tail fin and draws a centre line around the decoy blank. This serves as a reference point as he tapers the edges with a sharp knife. If he cuts too deep, he could spoil the carving, so he whittles carefully, removing just a little with each stroke of the knife. The goal is to round the sharp edges and soften the profile. He sands the entire surface of the decoy until it's perfectly smooth. Sanding also opens up the pores of the wood, allowing the paint to adhere properly. He carves a mouth, and then cuts slits for the two sets of side fins. He now bores into the wood on both sides to create eye sockets. He takes an equal amount of two epoxy clay components and kneads the two together. This activates the ingredients, turning it into a putty-like adhesive. He presses some of the adhesive into each of the eye sockets. And the glass eyes fit into the epoxy-filled sockets. The fins come from a sheet of aluminium, one dorsal fin, two sets of side fins, and a large tail fin. He inserts the fins into the slots in the carving. He then drills holes in the wood on each side and presses nails into those holes using pliers. This secures the tail fin. The fins on the decoy are larger than on the real ones. This helps them sit in the water when weighted. He now carves a pocket for that weight in the decoy's belly. He inserts the front side fins so that they protrude slightly into the freshly carved pocket. He then scoops up some molten lead and pours it into the pocket. Once solidified, it acts as a weight so the decoy will sink, and it will also secure the two side fins. He applies epoxy to the lead, sealing it so it won't be exposed to the water. He coats the entire decoy with lacquer. This seals the wood against water, which would have caused the wood to swell and crack the final finish. Once the lacquer dries, the decoy is ready to take the plunge. He tests it to confirm that it sinks, and that it sits level underwater and swims. Sometimes more lead needs to be added, but in this case, the decoy takes to it like a fish to water. He marks a spot for the screw eye, which will take the fishing line, and then twists the screw eye into that spot. He paints the herring decoy a vibrant red, a colour that isn't strictly accurate, but one that should excite real fish. Decoys often aren't exact copies of fish, they're designed to simply pique their curiosity. Since fish are attracted by colours and shapes they don't normally see, decoy artists can be as creative as they like. They're actually considered a form of folk art, and there are even competitions for best examples. Just as well really, because underwater the fish won't realise it's just a red herring.